Maria always dreamed of having her own house. When she found that Victorian mansion at an irresistible price, she didn't think twice. She ignored the realtor's warnings about the house's complicated history. On the first night, a faint whisper woke her. It seemed to come from within the walls. It must be the wind, she thought, going back to sleep. Days passed, and the whispers grew louder. Maria began to hear indistinct words, as if someone were begging for help. Sleep became difficult, filled with nightmares of people trapped in tight spaces, screaming. 2 weeks later, Maria woke up with a start. The whisper was now loud and clear. Set us free. She turned on the light and saw, horrified, scratches appearing on the wall as if made from inside. She tried to flee, but all the doors were locked. The windows wouldn't break. Her phone had no signal. The walls began to pulse. Cadaverous hands emerged, grabbing Maria. She screamed as she was pulled into the wall, which closed behind her. Weeks later, when Maria's family finally broke into the house to look for her, they found only an empty, silent mansion. But at night, if they listened closely, they could hear a new whisper joining the others. "You help me." Maria's disappearance became a local mystery. The police investigated, but found no clues. The house remained abandoned for months, with rumors that it was cursed. A year later, a young couple, John and Anna, bought the property at a very low price, ignoring its sinister reputation. On the first night, John woke to Anna shaking him, scared. "Do you hear that?" She whispered. A muffled murmur came from the walls. In the following days, both began having vivid nightmares about people trapped in the walls. Anna swore she saw shadows out of the corner of her eye. One night, John went downstairs for water and saw a female figure in the kitchen. She turned slowly, revealing Maria's pale, disfigured face. "Help us," she pleaded, before melting into the wall. Terrified, the couple decided to investigate the house's history. They discovered that, in the 19th century, the original owner had bricked his servants and enemies alive. Determined to break the curse, John and Anna began demolishing the walls. As they did, they heard agonizing screams and saw shadows fleeing. When they reached the center of the house, they found a secret chamber full of skeletons, including a recent one, Maria's. Upon removing the remains for a proper burial, the whispers ceased. The house finally fell silent. John and Anna decided to stay, feeling they had freed the trapped souls. But sometimes, on the darkest nights, they still heard a distant whisper of gratitude. After freeing the trapped souls, John and Anna believed the house was finally at peace. They completely renovated it, removing any trace of past horrors. For a few months, they lived peacefully. However, on a stormy night, Anna woke feeling a cold touch on her face. She opened her eyes and saw Maria hovering over her face a mask of despair. "It's not over," the apparition whispered before disappearing. Disturbed, the couple sought the help of a medium. During a séance at the house, the medium entered a trance, speaking with the voice of the original owner. "You freed my prisoners, but you cannot expel me. This house is mine eternally." In the following days, inexplicable events began to occur. Objects moved on their own, doors slammed, and a malevolent presence seemed to follow them everywhere. John and Anna discovered that the original owner, an occultist, had made a demonic pact to bind his own soul to the house, ensuring his eternal dominion over it and its victims. Determined to end the evil once and for all, the couple, along with the medium, performed an exorcism ritual. The house shook, furniture flew through the air, and a dark entity materialized, attacking them. At the climax of the ritual, when all seemed lost, the spirits of the previous victims, including Maria, emerged, joining forces with John and Anna to banish the malevolent entity. With a deafening scream, the evil presence was finally expelled. The house seemed to sigh in relief, as if an invisible weight had been lifted. John and Anna stayed in the house, now truly at peace. Occasionally, they felt benevolent presences around them, the grateful spirits of the former victims, now guardians of the home. The house's story spread, attracting curious onlookers and ghost hunters. But for John and Anna, it was simply the home where they had faced evil and triumphed, a constant reminder of the power of love and courage in the face of the supernatural. Years passed since the successful exorcism. John and Anna had 2 children, Lucy and Michael, who grew up in the house without paranormal incidents. The family lived happily, believing the evil had been definitively banished. On Lucy's 10th birthday, while the family was celebrating in the garden, the girl saw a shadowy figure in the attic window. Scared, she told her parents, who initially dismissed it as childish imagination. However, in the following days, strange events began to occur again. Objects disappeared and reappeared in improbable places. Miguel, the youngest, started talking about an invisible friend who told him terrible secrets at night. Anna found old notes from the original owner, revealing that the demonic pact was more complex than they had imagined. The malevolent entity could not be permanently banished, only weakened for generations. John and Anna realized that they had only postponed the inevitable. The malevolent presence was slowly regaining strength, feeding on the fear and innocence of the children. Desperate to protect their family, they sought help from occult experts worldwide. They discovered that to break the cycle definitively, they would need to perform a complex ritual that required a significant sacrifice. The ritual had to be performed on the night of the equinox, when the veil between worlds was thinnest. The family prepared, knowing they would face the greatest challenge of their lives. As the equinox approached, paranormal activity in the house intensified. Dark shadows lurked in corners, threatening voices echoed through the walls, and a supernatural chill permeated the air. On the fateful night, as they performed the ritual, the entity manifested in all its demonic fury. The house shook to its foundations, realities distorted, and the family found themselves fighting not just for their lives, but for their very souls. The outcome of this cosmic battle remains uncertain, with the family's fate and reality itself hanging by a thread. The night of the equinox arrived, bringing with it a supernatural storm. Lightning of impossible colors cut across the sky as John, Anna, Lucy, and Miguel positioned themselves in the 4 corners of the main room, forming a circle of salt and arcane symbols. The ritual began. The ancient words echoed through the house, making the walls vibrate. The demonic entity, sensing the threat, manifested in all its horrific glory, a mass of shadows and eyes, tentacles of pure darkness writhing in the air. Lucy and Miguel, terrified but determined, recited the words their parents had taught them. John and Anna, holding hands, channeled all their strength and love to maintain the circle of protection. The entity attacked, launching waves of psychic terror. Horrific visions flooded the family's minds, their greatest fears, forgotten traumas, terrible futures. But they resisted, their voices trembling but not stopping. Suddenly, the spirits of the previous victims emerged, led by Maria. They formed an ethereal barrier between the family and the demon, absorbing part of its attack. The critical point of the ritual arrived. To seal the entity forever, a sacrifice was needed, not of blood, but of memory. Someone had to offer all the happy memories of the house. Without hesitation, Anna stepped forward. Tears in her eyes, she began to recite her most precious memories: the first Christmas in the house, the birth of the children, birthdays, moments of love and laughter. As she spoke, these memories materialized in the air like golden threads, wrapping around the demonic entity. The demon roared and struggled, but each happy memory was like a chain, binding it. John, Lucy, and Miguel, crying, added their own memories, strengthening the prison. With a final scream of impotent rage, the entity imploded, sucked into a vortex of light that opened in the floor. The spirits of the victims, finally at peace, smiled at the family before disappearing into a gentle golden light. Silence fell over the house. The storm outside abruptly ceased. The family embraced, exhausted but victorious. Although Anna no longer remembered the happy moments in the house, she smiled at seeing the love in her family's eyes. They had won, but at a great cost. In the days that followed, the house seemed different, lighter, brighter. The family decided to stay, determined to create new happy memories to fill the void left by Anna's sacrifice. And so, a new era began for the house and its inhabitants, free from the shadow of the evil that had tormented it for so long. In the years following the ritual, the family faced unique challenges. Anna, having sacrificed her happy memories of the house, often felt out of place in her own home. Although she loved her family, there was a persistent melancholy in her eyes, an emptiness she could not explain. John dedicated himself to helping Anna rebuild her memories, telling stories, showing photos and videos. Slowly, Anna formed new emotional connections, but they were different, like an echo of a life she could not fully remember. Lucy and Miguel grew up with a maturity beyond their years. The experience had made them more empathetic and intuitive. Lucy developed a talent for helping traumatized people, eventually becoming a therapist. Miguel discovered that he could sense traces of energy in old places, leading him to a career in paranormal archaeology. The house, free from the curse, became a beacon of peace. People who entered it often reported feelings of calm and well-being. The family occasionally saw glimpses of the benevolent spirits, especially Maria, who seemed to keep a protective watch over them. Over time, the story of the house spread. Initially, this brought problems: curious onlookers, skeptics, and paranormal fanatics invading their privacy. Eventually, John and Anna decided to transform part of the property into a center for paranormal studies and spiritual healing. The center became famous, attracting people from all over the world seeking answers and peace. Lucy and Miguel, now adults, took over its administration, using their gifts to help others. Although Anna never fully recovered her lost memories, she found a new purpose. She became a mother figure to many traumatized visitors, her own loss making her exceptionally compassionate. As John aged, he often reflected on his family's journey. He realized that the true legacy of the house was not its dark past, but how they had transformed tragedy into hope. Decades later, when John and Anna passed away, their spirits joined the benevolent guardians of the house. Lucy and Miguel continued their parents' work, turning what was once a place of unimaginable horrors into a sanctuary of healing and knowledge. The house, once the stage for unimaginable horrors, became a symbol of resilience and transformation. And so it remained, through the generations, a testament to the power of love and courage in the face of darkness.